Hello and welcome to another rousing episode of Who the Fuck Cast That Guy with Uncle Nicky, brought to you by WFBR and our local sponsor, Adorable Otter Spec Ops action figures.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Who the Fuck Cast That Guy with me, Uncle Nicky. So, I don't want to say that last episode was a roaring success, but we gained a whole half a follower based on the gain to lost followers ratio. But that's not really what matters, is it? No. What it matters is whether or not the judge thought that my performance was good enough to merit a reduction in my community service. And the good news is, not only did I have to take a psych eval after the first one, but he actually added episodes on. So, looks like your Uncle Nicky is going to be doing this for quite some time in the foreseeable future. I can hear all of your minds screaming, no, as I say that out loud. But you know what? Here we are. Let's make the best of it. So, time to take another caller and see what movie we're going to be talking about this week. All right, caller, you're on with Uncle Nicky on Who the Fuck's Cast That.
Hello, Nicky, it's your mother.
Oh, hi, Ma.
Have you been eating?
Yes,
Listen,
I
I was wondering if we could talk about Julia Child, and some of the cooking that you do, but also crochet.
Ma.
And if you could talk to me about
it's a movie.
The right elbow.
Movie. Could you pick a movie?
It's bothering.
For us to talk about
a movie,
today.
Then, honey, we should talk about my favorite movie, Witchboard from 19. It was from the 1900s.
Okay.
It was
Thank
starring
you so very much.
Two lovely young men and that girl. What was her name?
Like, I guess
she was in the thing that time. You know the one I'm
reviewing
talking about.
The cult classic.
Oh, look at you, Mr. Fancy
classic.
Pants, doing movie phones and the whatnot.
Is a classic to some people.
Too busy for your mother.
We're going to be talking about Witchboard from 1986. Is this an obscure horror reference? Yes, it is. Will some of you get it? No, you won't. But go with me here as we investigate an obscure film that maybe not all of us remember, but that's okay, because sometimes we talk about things, right? And somebody brings them up to us, and we say to ourselves, you know what? I'm going to learn something new today. And that's what we do. We try to learn something new, right? Every single day, just a little bit new. So we're going to take a moment to talk about Witchboard from 1986, a horror movie starring the guy who played Max opposite one of the Coreys in 1997's Demolition University, and the chick who did all of the Whitesnake music videos back in the 80s, because she was married to their lead singer, I think. But anyway, chick from Whitesnake, Max from Demolition University, okay? And guess what? We're also going to be completely pulling to the left because, boy, do I got a bone to pick with fucking Milton Bradley. But here we go. So there's this house party in California. And you know what every house party in California needs? And what all teens want to do when they're having a house party? Not make out. Not zoom in their boom boom. None of that. Okay? You know what they're going to do? They're going to sit around. They're going to play with a Ouija board. I know what you're thinking. I was thinking it too. I got no idea. Like, who in that right mind? Okay, so here it goes. All right, so you got Max from Demolition University, right? And you got Whitesnake car wash lady, all right? And they're friends, right? But they're friends with this dude, right? Oh, what the guy? Oh my God, he played Patch Johnson in Days of Our Lives. All right, so they're friends, all right? And Patch Johnson, he's like, what we should totally do? We should totally play Ouija. And like nobody else. Okay. The whitest shit you've ever seen at a house party. All right? The whitest shit you've ever seen. You know why? Because I could be drinking. I could be playing something that would earn me money. We could be talking about fun. We could be playing NBA 2K24. No, you're playing Ouija. Like cool kids, apparently. You didn't think that, Dungeons and Dragons was satanic enough? No, you decided that you were going to break out a board game. Okay, fine. You know what? And we're going to use it, right? We're going to use it. First of all, let's reel it back, right? Notice that this whole thing is taking place in Fairfield, California, all right? In and of itself, sounds like the whitest shit you've ever heard, all right? It is the most crest to the crest. Okay, every single morning that Patch from Days of Our Lives, like Max from Demolition University, and fucking Tawny, I rubbed my boobs on a car hood for my ex-husband one time so that he could play hair metal in the background. These three, all right, it sounds as though every single day, if they are being raised in Fairfield, California, it sounds like every single day that they wake up every morning, the first thing that happens is their butler offers to cut the crusts off of their toast. You know what I mean? And it's like, it's not even like Wonder Bread, it's fucking artisanal toast. And like they had the milkmaid like churn the butter out in the backyard before bringing it in so that they could put the butter on their uncrusted toast. Like, it sounds way too upper class. Like, and so you got a bunch of kids who very obviously don't know what consequences are. So what are they doing? They decided to break out a Ouija board. Here's the thing. Difference between Fairfield, California and Boston. If we were at a house party in Boston and anybody broke out a Ouija board, crucifixes would be thrown at them. Like, get the fuck out of here. Holy what? We're pretty sure there'd be at least one bishop there at the house party, half in the bag already, and going, we're not going to be doing this on my watch, buddy. So, yeah, you get these funds. And the kid, Patch Johnson, from fucking Days of Our Lives, he's sitting there and he goes, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to try to summon the spirits with this mystical board. Ooh. And they all think this is a good fucking idea. So, yeah, dude from Days of Our Lives tries to convince his grinding it for Whitesnake ex-girlfriend. First of all, okay, can we take a moment? Because here's the thing, all right? So, yes, I get it, all right? Your ex now has a fancy job. He's playing a part on Days of Our Lives. That's very sweet for him, okay? But he's still your ex, okay? You're all at a house party in the middle of the whitest frickin' neighborhood on the face of the planet. Okay? And you're hanging out, you're having a good time, and your ex walks up to you and does what? Tries to convince you that you need to play with a Ouija board with him. Does that sound a little suspicious to you? Oh, but wait, it gets better. Because your ex-boyfriend, who now has a very fancy schmancy job working on Days of Our Lives, he tells you, get this, this is great. He's been communicating with a 10-year-old named David. All right. I don't know what the metaphysical version of catfishing is, but I'll tell you what. If you start playing with Ouija board and it says that it's a 10-year-old named David, cut off the call. It's over. Next thing you know, you're going to find out, David's a Nigerian prince, or he's got some NFTs that he wants to sell you. I'm sorry, but there's no good way to go about this. You don't think that if ghosts actually have shit that they're doing, that they don't have better things? If I were a 10-year-old ghost, listen, I'm not trying to be a perv or nothing, but I can tell you for certain, there'd be a lot more things I'd be doing than haunting a fucking guy who now works at Days of Our Lives. You know what I mean? Like, on top of it, if I were even a 10-year-old spirit should know that the second that a dude ends up trying to solicit his girlfriend in order to help him with spiritual communications via something you can get on Amazon for $12, it's never going to be a good scene. It's not going to go well. And guess what? Guess who figures out that this is a bad idea? Tawny, I grounded out for my ex-boyfriend in all of his music videos. Yeah, Tawny, her freaking new boyfriend, she has a current boyfriend, and that boyfriend is going to be Max in Demolition University alongside one of the Coreys when he gets older. And you know what? Maybe you should listen to him, because while Demolition University may not have been the best career choice, at least it's better than being at a house party playing with a Milton Bradley board from hell with your ex-boyfriend in order to communicate with a 10-year-old. How many red flags do you need? You know what this is like? This is the supernatural equivalent of every single adorable cat of prey video on the internet, right? Because you see a giant floofball and you think to yourself, oh, I could cuddle it. No, okay? When your ex is now relegated to working on soap operas and he says to you at a house party, let's play with basically an old-timey demon typewriter, right? Like, you, in order to contact a 10-year-old boy, maybe it's time to leave the party. I realize you're hot up, okay? You haven't met your future husband. He hasn't offered to pay you a bunch of money to, stick yourself out of a car in the middle of a tunnel, for his music video. I get it. You got years to go. You got years to go. And I understand that. But you're doing the very best that you can, okay? But you don't. You listen to your current boyfriend who's like, you know what, this might be a bad idea. No shit, this might be a bad idea. The fact that I said Ouija board, every single one of the aunties that I know got their hands on a jar of rock salt and a squirt bottle of holy water. They all keep it in misters on the counter, just in case. You know what I'm saying? And they're all currently holding them, and their trigger fingers are itchy as we speak. So the current boyfriend is like, nah, this is a bad idea. The ex-boyfriend, soap opera actor, the guy from Days of Our Lives, he decides to slash new boyfriend's tires. Again, should be over at this point. Like, guess what? I'm calling the cops. I know that you slashed the tires, so now you're going to jail, fuckhead. Like, there's no way around this. But no, we have to get far more complicated, because now, in the little instance in which boyfriend and girlfriend decided to interact with Ouija board, I shouldn't say that. Ex-boyfriend and ex-girlfriend decided to interact with said Ouija board. Now they've opened the door. Guess what? This is my shocked face. Y'all decided to open a door. Congratulations. Are doors to the spiritual realm the easiest open doors on the face of the planet? Like, is it basically like the automatic doors at the supermarket? It's just like you step on a pad and, oh, whoosh, they're open. And like anybody can come in and go out. Like, how does... It's just, I don't understand, guys. I do not understand. So, of course, guess what? Oh, and the door to the spirit realm, it's been open. And has it allowed a 10-year-old named David in? No, guess what it has allowed in? A demon. I swear to God, denim-wielding teenagers in the 80s was so fucking dumb. So the spirit door has been opened, all right? Because apparently, like 7-Eleven, the doors to the spirit realm are available 24/7. And David is not, in fact, the one who gets through. But instead, we don't know who gets through. There's some evil afoot. Oh, no kidding, because it's a horror movie. All right, so here's the thing. All of a sudden, girlfriend starts having these weird interactions with the world. Things are going strange. And she's feeling off and everything's weird. Not because, of the fact that you have to come to terms with the fact that your ex now works on a soap opera. And the thing you're going to be known for primarily is music videos. But anyway, so she gets slammed up against the wall and things go strange and it's all going haywire. And then all of a sudden, the ex-boyfriend and the current boyfriend, decide that they're going to team up. It's the dumbest Avengers team up ever. It might be on par with Batman v Superman. Yes, I said it. But you know what? Both Henry Cavill and Ben Affleck deserve better than that script. Moving on. So, Patch from Days of Our Lives goes to do research, right? Okay, cool. And then Max from Demolition University is like, I'm going to go find my girlfriend, only to see her violently thrown against the wall. Guess what? That's not the kind of thing a dead 10-year-old would do with that time. But I digress, because we're not, again, denim-wielding teenagers from the 80s. I'm not going to go there. All right, so they get into it. All right. And they decide, you know what we're going to have to do? We're going to have to communicate with the spirit realm again, which really shouldn't be that hard because you left the door wide open, you bunch of morons. Okay. So they decide that they're going to do the whole thing, and they start trying to contact David. And guess what? They find out David's not the one doing all of it. I know. You're shocked. It is, in fact, the spirit of an axe murderer who decided that it was going to try to possess the body of the really hot chick from all those Whitesnake music videos. I'm guessing in order to help her do the Whitesnake videos. I don't know. You know, what would a spirit do if it was possessing the body of a young woman? Who is to say? Especially when it is the guy who really doesn't have, like, I could tell you what he did in other things, but the only other thing I know that this actor did was took still photographs for the making of this movie. So, he was a photographer on the set of this movie, but also his character is an axe murderer. And his name's like Malfieter. He was an axe murderer, right? And so, guess what? He's trying to take over Tawny Whitesnake's body. And I get it. Okay. You got the world of the living. You could be doing more axe murdering. Nobody's going to expect that when you're not filming videos for Whitesnake, you're going to be killing people. Nobody would assume that. That would not be on anybody's radar. So here's the thing. So basically, the ex-boyfriend and the current boyfriend decide that they're going to do something about it and somehow end up down at the docks. So here's where things get strange. Because current boyfriend gets knocked unconscious by a bunch of fish barrels. And we got to take a moment here, because in the midst of all of this absurdity, right? In the midst of the still photographer for the making of this actual movie has decided that he's going to possess the body of Tawny Whitesnake and ride on the hood of cars eventually when not getting your murdering done. I don't know. You know, maybe take up crocheting. Maybe discover other things. Man, you know what? You know what would make sure that this shit didn't happen? If old spirit came back, possessed body, it'd be like, I don't know what to do with my time. Maybe I'll learn to crochet. Maybe laser tag. Maybe I'll buy some Apple stock. You know, you'd think that you would take a moment and like raise the empire that you were unable to do in life. But no, you're just going to start axe murdering. I suppose, who's to say? So yeah. So the whole thing goes down, right? And they end up finding out that this guy was an axe murderer, whatever, was a axe murderer in the 1930s. And in his defense, like, you just got through dealing with Prohibition. You're on the heels of the next World War. Yeah, I'd probably be feeling a little axe murdery too. I'll be honest with you. So, we find out that Tawny Whitesnake and Kid from Demolition University are living in the house of the ex-axe murderer who was gunned down in said house by police. Yet again, you didn't. This is why when buying a house, even fucking renting one, you want to get all of the information, okay? Like, we're not even going to talk about the coincidence. We're not going to have that conversation. Oh, we've got Patch from Days of Our Lives who got himself a Ouija board, and we're at a house party, and you're summoning 10-year-old David, but actually it's the spirit of the guy who got shot in a house. Okay, fine, whatever. So at this point, Mal has decided that he's going to take over Tawny Whitesnake and has destroyed the house. And there's been murders happening. And oh my God, everybody thinks that it's Kid from Demolition University. Oh no. And they would suspect that it was Patch from Days of Our Lives, but he died. He died on that pier when the other kid, when Kid from Demolition University got hit in the head with fish barrels. Because apparently those were a thing. Who's to say? There's a lot of things in this movie that are very dated. Okay, very, very dated. But we're going to leave that be. And all I can think of is when I think barrels are the ones Donkey Kong used to throw at Mario. All right? But we don't talk about Mario a lot around here because he's from New York and fuck those New Yorkers. I digress. So, the house is in disarray, right? Kid from Demolition University finds out that his girlfriend is almost completely possessed. The possession whole process. Here's another thing, okay? You died during Prohibition, right? You died in the midst of Prohibition, right? 3 years from the war, in the midst of Prohibition, all right? The first thing you should be doing is going, oh my God, liquor is now, I can drink liquor. Liquor is available. There are whole stores devoted to it. I could get murdery, or I could drink and sit down about my life choices. No, doesn't do that. I'm working with a new liver attached to this young body, and I could either go, knees down on the roof of a sports car, or I could end up doing, I could end up having a 24-pack and giving life some real thought, No, doesn't do that. Mal doesn't do that. No. Starts wrecking the house. Starts getting murdery, all right? So boyfriend from friggin' Demolition University decides, okay, that he's gonna try to figure all this out. And he goes back and he's got a gun, all right? And she's got a fire poker. Don't ask. And it's like very tense, and you're thinking to yourself, oh my God. And the boyfriend finds out that he's gonna have to shoot himself in order to destroy, because he must be the portal. She says, well, she doesn't say so much as the old dude who's possessing her says that he's the portal. And he's like, am I or am I? And he proceeds to shoot the Ouija board, and it flies out of a window and onto the roof of a car. Further proving that if you had destroyed the Ouija board or just not played at all, this movie would have never happened. All right? But again, stupid fucking kids in the 80s in the whitest neighborhoods on the face of the fucking planet. You know what I mean? It's just like you don't have anything else to do. Okay. And then all of this could have been avoided if you just shot the Ouija board to begin with. Okay, fine. So here's the thing, right? She's free of the malicious. Okay, can we also take a moment and realize if you're going to write a script, okay, you're going to write a script and you're going to make an evil, just making the first part of its name Mal, which means evil, not exactly subtle, okay? But again, it was the 80s, okay? Tawny had to go, I don't know, like dry hump a Trans Am. What's to be said? What's to be said about this? So yes, movie ends and the evil has dissipated, or at least we think so, right? Because obviously, like the board wasn't destroyed, it was shot, because that's really going to do something to a Ouija board. Oh, I've been shot right in my... Oh, okay. I don't know. What do you... Did it destroy the laminate? No, it went flying out of a window and landed on a car. Like, it's not exactly like what... This is the least dramatic murder of the... If the Ouija board is the villain in this pot, and we all know that it is, all right, it is even less of a threat than Chucky, All right? Because it's not like it can chase you. All right? It has to be picked up and moved places, which, as a matter of fact, it is. It's picked up by the landlady of boyfriend who goes to Demolition University. I'm assuming in order to get his master's in demolition eventually with Corey, what's his face. And then after Tawny is done white snaking it up, or at least riding some white snakes, if you know, you know. Once they're done, they get married. Oh, and it's so happy. And they continue to live in the house where dead guy was killed. All right? Yeah, because that's normal thing to do. I would have moved out of that house so fucking fast you don't even have any. But anyway, their landlady, Mrs. Moses, picks up the Ouija board. It's like, you know what? I'll keep this for my granddaughter. And in the process of throwing it into a bunch of stuff, says aloud, I wonder if this still works. And the little, the pointer, the mouse clicker, you know, the evil mouse clicker that comes with all the Ouija boards, it goes over the word yes. Credits. For the most inanimate evil in the history of cinema, even my mic gave up. This is Witchboard. There's the sequel. It has the most inanimate evil in it in the history of horror movies. Even if you couldn't really consider, I don't consider it a horror movie so much as a cautionary tale, right? Also, it kind of calls us out on a laziness because you shot the Ouija board and it went flying out of the window, right? Okay. And you were just like, oh, that's done. It's somebody else's problem now. It's outside of the house. It is not my concern. Who does that? You know what kind of problems it costs. And you were just like, I'll leave it there. I'll leave it in the street. I'm much too busy going to Demolition University in order to get my master's degree in demolition. Hey, what? What, was Tawny too busy? Like, did she have a tune-up that she had to make look all sexy underneath the hood of a Firebird the next day? Like, nobody had the time to go take care of this. No, they just left the Ouija board so that some wandering grandmother could pick it up, throw it into a box, and eventually give it to her granddaughter. There was a sequel to this movie. There was a sequel. I don't know if I want to bother with it because I'm wondering if it brings back Mal again as a villain. Like, I can't tell you whether or not anybody else was involved because very obviously they were off living the days of their lives. Holy Hannah hand grenade. The second one had nothing to do with the first one. I can't even. So yeah, Witchboard. I'll tell you what. I might just be somebody's uncle in the basement doing these for public access cable. But I'll tell you what. There's some things that are even too sad for me. And Witchboard would be one of them. Hey, they're making a sequel. Or maybe it's a reboot. Who's to say? I wonder if it's going to involve any more white on Ouija board crime. We will live to see it, I suppose. Because, you know, there is no justice in this world. So, this has been Uncle Nicky for Who the Fuck Cashed That Guy. I know what you're thinking to yourself at this moment. Maybe you're looking at me, listening to the soothing tones of my voice and thinking to yourself, is this love? It's a White Snake reference. You get it? You get it? No, I didn't think you would. Stormy says, yo, Uncle Nicky, I watched Star Wars after your thorough synopsis. Can you tell me more about the second film, The Empire Strikes Back? Why is this on Thirsty Thursday? What the fuck does this have to do with Thirsty Thursday, huh? Huh? Like, what? You know what? I'm going to do it because I love you, but the fuck. All right, here goes. I'm reading comments and I'm because you curse, nerd. That's true. That is fucking true. I do curse in these synopsis. Sorry. Synopsis. So here goes. All right. Empire Strikes Back. Fuck. Starts out on the coldest fucking planet in the galaxy far, far away. All right. And it's fucking dildo haircut boy. Cock cap boy with his hair being all like, oh, it forms a perfect dome and it looks exactly like my father's helmet, but we're not going to get into that. Because he doesn't know he's his fucking father anymore. He doesn't know he had a deadbeat dad. Anyway, went for cosmic blue milk, never came back. You know what I'm saying? So him and the princess and a fucking space pirate and a fucking giant Pomeranian. They on a fucking snow planet. I mean, he's wicked fucking cold, right? Like witch's tits cold. And they're there with a bunch of other rebels because apparently things ain't going so fucking smooth for them. You know, they couldn't end up on like a paradise planet or anything else. They couldn't hide on like a good planet with like a beach and maybe a mini bar. No, so they ended up in the middle of fucking snow. And they're hiding away. And all of a sudden, a robot just fucking thunders down to the planet. It's one of like Elon Musk's like fucking numbers, and it looks all evil, and it's got like clippers and shit. Though I don't know why it's got like clippers and shit. It just like floats around and it's hovering around. It's just hovering around. You know what I mean? It's just it's floating around and it's making this really annoying fucking sound. So you're like, what the fuck is this thing about? And you'll find out that fucking Nazi dad decided that he was going to send a bunch of robots out and try to, fucking LoJack his kids. What the fuck is that? So yeah, so he's out there, and they finally find him because apparently this little Elon Musky doohickey doo is out there, and it's looking, and it sees the rebels, and it's like, fuck, that doesn't belong there in the middle of the snow. That is a man-made structure. It's a bunch of donuts, and it looks like a bunch of donuts standing out of a box, but those don't belong there, so obviously the rebels got to be here because who the fuck else would want to live on this planet? This planet is absolute shit. And so, like, Nazi dad sends a bunch of his fucking goons down in these giant, like, they look kind of like greyhounds. It's a fucking weirdest thing. It's like just giant, like, it's not a traditional tank, which you think would make a whole lot more sense, given the fact that, but no, these things are like towering and they're on four legs. And you're thinking to yourself, well, that's not structurally sound because all of the weight's at the top, and there's no way that OSHA signed off on this. So they land these giant fucking greyhound walkers, and they start marching towards the donuts in the snow. And the rebels are like, shit, we got to get out of here because we're not safe, and we got to get moving. And so it's like, okay, we're all going to lose our fucking minds. We're going to try to pack up all of our 8-tracks, and we're going to try to get all of our, nudie mags into all of these ships, and we're going to try to take off as fast as possible. Somewhere before that, was it before that? Yeah, somewhere before that, fucking, Golden Boy with his cockhead haircut made out with his sister, not knowing it was his sister. So things were not really awkward yet. I mean, there was some kissing going on, but then, like in a year or two, things did not go well, but we'll get there. So anyway, so the space Nazis, they're fucking shit up, and they finally take over this base that looked like a giant row of donuts in the snow. And everybody gets away, right? Including the kid. They take out a couple of the walkers, fucking obviously, because the fucking things aren't fucking sound to save their fucking lives. And so they're like, okay, we're going to go find a new base. Or we're going to start a space caravan. It's basically like tailgating in space. Just like we're going to have a rebellion tailgate in space. This is like a convoy, I guess. You could look at it a bunch of different fucking ways. But anyway, so the space cowboy and the princess and the giant Pomeranian, they go off to find the space convoy. Meanwhile, Golden Boy is like, you know what? I gotta do this thing. You guys are gonna have to give me a break because I had a near-death experience while in the fucking snow. An old guy from the last movie who died, he came back as a ghost, and he told me that I needed to go out and find this other guy in the middle of a fucking, desert. No, shit, swamp. And so I gotta go out and I gotta find this guy in a swamp. And they're like, are you sure you weren't tripping fucking balls? And he's like, no, I'm pretty sure this is the Force. And they're like, okay, you know what? Here's how to find us just in case, you get to this planet and you're saying to yourself, fuck, I guess I was hallucinating. And then you need to come find us. Well, here's the deal. So, Golden Boy flies off the swamp planet. Meanwhile, the space pirate, the Pomeranian, and the princess are like, oh my god, we're going to go join the rest of the rebels. And Space Pirate's like, fuck. Okay, now might be a very bad time to inform you that I didn't formally go to mechanic school. I just learned from my cousins. And Princess is like, what the fuck you mean you learned from your cousins? Well, nothing fucking works on this ship. Oh, great. Oh, great. So he's like, I'm going to get us out of here. We're going to be safe. It's going to be fine. It is not, spoiler alert, it does not go fine. So, Golden Boy goes to the Mud Hut planet, and he's slogging around, and his ship sinks into the fucking mud because, of course, you didn't land on any fucking solid. You didn't look for a stable, perch for your vessel. No. You're just gonna park it wherever the fuck you want to park it. Fucking white privilege. Anyway, so he does that whole fucking thing. And then they're over there trying to elude the space Nazis who are flying around in their very annoying ships. I mean, these ships make noises that nobody with a hangover wants to hear. You know what I'm saying? So they're having their problems. Kids over here on the mud planet has his whole ship sinking in the mud. Great fucking deal. Oh. Ends up dealing with a whole fucking thing, right? Oh my God. What's he going to do? What am I going to do? I'm lost. I'm in the middle of a fucking jungle. I don't know what I'm doing. All of a sudden, this little fucking Kermit looking motherfucker pops out of nowhere, starts talking like Uncle Greg talks at Thanksgiving after 5 or 6 shots. The Rumble Mitts is gone and Uncle Greg is just popping off. So yeah, this little fucking Kermit motherfucker is over here being like, oh, what you looking for, man? And kid's like, I'm looking for a dude named Yoda. Apparently, he's a great warrior. And the little fucking Kermit looking motherfucker's like, yeah, bet. And so he starts trying to dig through his shit. He's trying to steal shit from the kid. Now listen, the kid's a little bit of a whiny motherfucker at this point, but I'm not saying you get to steal off the guy, you know what I'm saying? And then he starts like digging around inside the guts of like fucking the trash can on wheels. You remember that robot from the first one? Haven't fucking mentioned him until this point. Sorry about that. But yeah, he's digging around in the guts. Have you ever had somebody digging around in your guts and not ask permission beforehand? I would fucking spray him too. Like, the fact that he didn't mace him is shocking to me. But I digress. So, kid's like, you know what? I don't know what the fuck I'm doing here. And then the Kermit looking motherfucker starts talking to the fucking ghost of the Old English motherfucker. Right? And you're like, wait a second. Is the kid still hallucinating? Is this whole planet a hallucination? What is going on? Perhaps this whole thing, perhaps Dagobah is not really real, but is just a facet of his mind, and he's secretly just floating out in the middle of space while being occupied by this mass hallucination that was made for him by ripples in the force. Or maybe he's fucking high, one or the other. So the point is this. Is that he's talking, the little green thing is talking, the fucking Kermit looking motherfucker, he's talking to the Old English dude, who's like apparently decided to put down his tea finally and actually respond. And then the kid's like, whoa. I was cool with that English dude. I should be fucking cool with you. By the way, do you want me to fill me in on everything that's going on? And little Kermit looking motherfucker's like, nope, but I am going to train you. And so they start doing a training montage. And it's the 80s, and really, they missed an opportunity not playing Eye of the Tiger the entire fucking time. So, over here, Space Cowboy and the Princess and the fucking Pomeranian, giant fucking Pomeranian, are still in their ship trying to repair it. They've landed in an asteroid, and they're like, oh, this is perfectly safe. We landed in a cave in an asteroid. You know what? Just like a fucking asshole to park anywhere the fuck they want to and not expect that. Listen, I'm not saying that they were being colonizers, but you parked, You didn't realize where you parked. You didn't scan where you parked for life before you parked it. No, you just parked and expected this to be your space. And then it's like, okay, all of a sudden where they parked, it's getting really shaky and shit. And it's like, what the fuck is going on here? Don't know, but we better take off because I feel like the whole thing's going to break. Fucking, so the space pirate, a fucking Pomeranian, and a fucking space princess, they take off. Oh my God, they had parked in somebody's mouth. They had parked in a giant space worm. Okay, it did look like a dildo. But they parked in a giant dildo with teeth's mouth. Right? And the dildo with teeth's like, get the fuck out of here. I'm going to take a chunk out of you. And it's like, yeah, you can't really blame the guy, can you? No, because he was just having a nap, and the whole thing went to shit. So those three are like, oh my God, we can't keep doing this. We got to find somewhere where we can actually repair stuff. And fucking. The space pirate's like, you know what? I do know a guy who owns a shop. He's a little fucking sketchy, but he's my boy. And Space Princess is like, I guess. I mean, is he like on the level with you, or is he a D? Oh no, he's like the mayor of the whole town. And you're like, oh, okay, because we've never met corrupt politicians before. So they fly to the fucking city in the sky, right? And they land the ship. And they're like, okay, we're at a city in the sky now. This is fantastic. It's lovely. They run into the guy who sells Colt 45, and it's like, fuck, dude, I know you from the Colt 45 ads. It's like, yeah, this is my town. This is what I fucking did with the money from the Colt 45 advertisements. I bought a Sky City. So it's like, all right, look at you, Mr. fucking Fancy. Let's do it to it. And everything's going smoothly. And you're like, okay, they're going to hang out. Of course, he's a little bit of a fucking charmer. But what are you going to do? And so that's going all smoothly. And so you're like, okay, you got him over there with them, and they're just chilling the fuck out and eating good food and all this stuff. And then you got the kid over here, Golden Boy, and he's out in the middle, and he's sweating his fucking ass off, and he's trying to figure out how the Force works, right? And then in the midst of him getting trained, he's learning that he's a big dumb fucking bag of rocks, and that he's got to, like, expand his horizons and shit. And, like, Kermit with fucking attitude is out there going, okay, I'll show you how this shit goes, but I'm not going to really tell you anything. You got to fucking figure it out on your own, pal. And in the midst of his training, like, Golden Boy sees a cave on a planet that he's landed on not 48 hours prior. He sees a cave and he says to Kermit with the fucking speech impediment, hey, what's that? And Kermit's like, oh, that's evil. You don't want to go there. And the kid, like a fucking 6-year-old, goes, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go there. So he goes into the fucking cave. He goes into the cave. And you know what he does? He runs in the fucking Nazi helmeted dad. And you're like, oh shit, this is going to go down. And so they start swinging with their laser swords, and they're doing it to it. But the whole thing seems a little bit trippy. So you're wondering whether or not he was fed shrooms at some point, because the Kermit with a speech impediment, he fucking cooks, but you don't know what's going in there, and it's all swamp food and what the fuck ever. And so he's swinging and they're battling, and he chops Nazi Dad's head off. And you're like, fuck, done and done, right? Oh my God, though. He's standing there with his laser sword, and he looks down, and he's thinking to himself, that helmet, and the helmet explodes, and inside the helmet is his own face. And he's like, fuck. I bet this means something. I'm not going to mention it, though. And he leaves the fucking cave. And you're like, what happened? Meanwhile, back out on Sky City, there are so many Star Wars nerds that I'm pissing off right now. Meanwhile, back on Sky City, fucking, space pirate, space princess, giant Pomeranian, and Colt 45, they're hanging out. They're having a grand old time. They're fixing up the ship. They're laughing. They're having back and forth, up and down. Everything's going great. And next thing you fucking know, they're like, oh, you want to come to dinner? Yeah, we'll come to dinner. So they go to fucking dinner. Who's waiting for them? Fucking helmeted space Nazi dad. Yeah. Didn't even offer him dinner. The table's all made up. There's food on the table. Did anybody get to eat? Who can say? The point is, they're in some shit. So, you skip back. Wait, no. Fuck. Yes, okay, so here goes. So, Space Pirate starts getting tortured, right, by the space Nazis. Saw that coming. Space Princess, she's just like, I'm just gonna stand here, but you know what? Technically, I still have diplomatic fucking immunity, so what the fuck you doing? And Giant Pomeranian, who could probably rip the door off the fucking hinges, is just like, I'm just gonna wait here and try to be my better self and hope for a better tomorrow. And guess what? That's not how it goes. Because that droid, the golden butler one, you know, the one who couldn't bend his arms, he fucking gets completely decimated, and they end up giving him back in pieces. So they end up putting him into somebody's, you know, LL Bean backpack, and they're going to start carrying him around. Space Pomeranian's got him strapped to his back the entire fucking time. Rest of the fucking movie. And you're like, oh my God, dude. You're not being a fucking help at all. So, yeah. So what we do is we have this back and forth and up and down, and space pirates are getting tortured, and all of a sudden, Golden Boy over here goes, oh my God. Not only have I started to understand the Force a little bit better, but now I know that my friends are in danger. I better go help them. And Kermit with the impediment's like, I don't think so, kid. Not a good idea. You're not fucking ready. You're not fucking ready. And the kid's like, are you kidding? With this smile and this unmelanated skin, I can do anything. And so he jumps back in his ship and he flies off. And Kermit with the impediment, talking to the old English breakfast tea motherfucker, goes, you know what? If the kid fucking dies, we always got a backup. And that's where they fucking leave it. It was 4 fucking years between movies. You imagine being left with that shit for 4 years? Oh yeah, Kermit with a fucking speech impediment decides he's gonna drop that bomb and just walk off camera. So yeah, so Golden Boy ends up at Sky City, and he is like, oh man, I can totally help out, but you know, I'm gonna figure all this shit out. And then you're like, holy shit. This whole thing was set as a trap. Evil space Nazi dad, he did this whole thing so that he could trap me, but I wasn't really thinking about that at the time. So he tortured my friends. He turned one of them into a fucking coffee table. And fucking, what's going down? None of it's good. So, Golden Boy and Nazi Dad, they get into a laser sword fight. And they're like, you know what? We're going to do this. And then at some point, Nazi Dad's just like, fuck this shit. I am too old and everything creaks. So I'm just going to use the fucking Force and throw things at the kid because I can't keep up with him anymore. So he hits him with shit. And he's like, oh, fuck. This is all fucked up. And so they're dueling. Meanwhile, Space Princess and a Giant Pomeranian and Colt 45, they out there starting shit and getting in fights. What is going on down here? Oh, God. Okay, cool. I see how this is going. For clarification, though, wasn't it? Yes, he did. Didn't? Oh my God. All right, anyway, sorry. So fucking Princess is like, you know what? We got to save your friend. He's been turned into a coffee table. It's not going to go well. We better get him. And it's like, okay, let's go do that. So they try to get him, but too late. He gets stolen by a guy who, you know, technically at the time did not get the representation that he deserved. Later get that representation only for people to realize that he's not really as good at his job as he seemed to be. He seemed a lot cooler, but as you got to know him, he was a little bit of a loser. But anyway, so yeah. So that whole thing is going down, and Princess and Pomeranian and Colt 45, they're like, oh my God, we're gonna try to save him. Doesn't work. So we're gonna take the ship that we have fixed. By the way, we fixed it. You know, my guys are good guys. They fixed it. Oh, and by the way, I'm going to tell the rest of the Sky City that they need to stop fucking fighting back because the fucking space Nazis are here and they don't deserve any of our shit. So start roughing them up in the streets. And we never get to see that shit. But I'm willing to bet it looked like some of the things that go down at Thanksgiving around my family's house, you know, in Worcester, after we finish the first bottle of Jameson. Anyway, so that shit's going down there. Princess is stolen. Space pirate ship with a giant Pomeranian, Colt 45, and the Golden Butler. And they're like, okay, we're going to do it to it. And the trash can is with them. And they're like, okay, we're going to do it to it. We're just going to take off. And all of a sudden, Space Princess is like, shit, I can sense Golden Boy. And Golden Boy's like, fuck, I'm up here. I'm dealing with Dad. Oh, wait. Don't know it's your dad yet. We'll get there later. And fucking dealing with a fight. Gets his arm fucking lopped off. First thing out of his mouth should have been, I'm fucking suing your ass because I know you work for the Empire and you got fucking money, pal, and we know it. Look at how shiny your fucking helmet is. Look at how nice all your armor is. You got cash. You took my arm off. I'm calling a fucking lawyer right now. Please hold. And the guy is, the fucking space Nazi robot's like, no, man, you don't want to sue me because this is really a familial spat. And the kid's like, no, it fucking isn't. And the giant space Nazi robot's like, yes, it is because I'm your daddy. And the kid's like, the fuck you are. Somewhere Mark Hamill is flipping me off. And the space Nazi robot is like, no, I am. I'm your dad. And the kid's like, the fuck you are? And he's like, no, I really am your dad. And listen, if you join me, we could, go 50-50 on the whole Empire thing. And it'd be sweet. And we could turn it into a family business. And we could call it Vader and Sons LLC. And everybody would be like, oh, look at them. It's a multi-generational endeavor. And don't we just love those folks? Anyway, so the kid's like, fuck no, I'm gonna go to art school. And I'm gonna make something out of myself, and maybe I will join the clergy. Who's to say? And the dad's like, the fuck you will. You're gonna do what I tell you to do. And the kid's like, or not. Yeet! And he jumps. He jumps down this giant trash chute in the middle of Sky City. And you're kind of like, okay, you made a life decision. And I don't know exactly whether or not you were thinking when you did it. I mean, was the general ethos in your mind at the time YOLO? I'm a little bit confused. Maybe you had main character syndrome when you did it. Who's to say? The point being, missing an arm, doesn't have his laser sword anymore. We're never going to address that, by the way. It's just going to be out there for generations until a girl gets their hands on it. And when that shit goes down, half of the fucking fan base is going to pee themselves, poop themselves, and find a way to complain on the internet about it. But anyway. So, the kid's dangling from a really rough Sirius XM radio antenna on the bottom of the Sky City, right? Because he hit the trash chute, and then the trash chute just opens up, and there's a city in the sky, so you know where they dump all that fucking garbage? Down below them, because they don't give a fuck. Anyway, so they're doing that whole thing, and he's dangling from this antenna, and he's thinking to himself, hey, Space Princess, if you could, do me a favor, swing back around and maybe pick my ass up. And she does it, and it's like, okay, cool. She's like, well, you didn't really inconvenience me, I suppose, but at the same time, look at how fucked up you are, pal. And he's like, you know what, don't do this to me right now. I'm feeling very emo. I think I may have to go get myself some very swanky boots and a whole black ensemble. Because right now, I'm in my feelings. I feel like I need to listen to My Chemical Romance and get in touch with the me that's inside. You know what I'm saying? So the kid spends the entire ride to the space caravan of rebels staring at a wall. Meanwhile, he keeps just uttering father. And Space Nazi, who's gone back to his fucking ship, is like, I miss you, boy. I do love you. Even though I cut off your fucking arm. Maybe turn the ship around and we could talk. I promise we won't be on an episode of Maury. Come, just turn it back up. What's it gonna take? And the kid's like, fuck you, Dad. You don't control me. You're not my real father. And like, Space Nazi's like, well, I kind of fucking am. But, I was an absentee father, and that's how things go sometimes. Whew. So, yeah. So, Space Princess and Golden Boy and the Robot Butler and the Giant Pomeranian and Colt 45 and a robot trash can, they all get to the caravan because they're on their way to Pat's game and they're tailgating. And it's like, okay, that's where we're going to end the fucking movie. 4 fucking years until we'll have a conclusion. And when I say their fans at the time lost their fucking minds, they lost their fucking minds. So yes, that was Star Wars in a nutshell. Holy shit, that took some time.